So to answer the second question, what is my position on the Sürgün, more commonly known as the 1944 mass deportation of the Crimean Tatars as a national communist? Before getting to the heat of the topic, let me give some historical context about Crimea. The peninsula was in ancient times home to various foreign elements, such as Greece or Rome. However, I think at this point it's fair to say that it was longer dominated by the Tatars, with the Golden Horde conquest of the Kievan Rus and the formation of the Crimean Khanate in 1449 after the collapse of the Mongol Empire. The Khanate was then annexed by the Russian Empire in 1783 to afterwards become independent for a short while in 1917 after the fall of the Russian Empire, with the Crimean People's Republic under the leadership of the first and last president, the socialist Nomanchely Bijihan, who was unfairly couped by the Red Army, and to have Crimea become an autonomous Soviet republic. A national communist movement did exist there, with Bijihan's party Milli Firka, with a more Islamic Natcom line. However, the Natcoms were purged in the 30s when Stalin came to power, not saying that Lenin liked them either, because, well, he didn't. And now for the subject at hand. The Sürgün was done after World War II to punish the Crimean Tatars as a whole for the actions of a few collaborators. This, in my opinion, was an act of nation destruction. Let me explain. By taking the entire populace of the peninsula there, being the Tatars who for centuries were building the area, and made it a regional power until their annexation by Russia in the late 18th century, to then regain nationhood in 1917, to lose it again, but to gain some form of a promised form of autonomy by a system that claims to be quote-unquote liberatory under the USSR, is a complete, in my opinion, mockery of self-described socialists and fighters for the people with support and who call themselves fighter for national self-determination. The Tatars were relocated to Central Asia, mainly Kazakhstan, while the peninsula was repopulated with Russians. Hence the large percentage of Russians there today, while only 15% of the population is actually Tatar. Some having returned, of course, in the last years, since 1991, if not earlier, with more weaker leaders, quote-unquote, following Brezhnev, and this is why you still have problems regarding the peninsula today. The Natcom solution, in my opinion, would have been for the Tatars to handle this themselves as a people and a quote-unquote nation, them being, of course, an autonomous peninsula, not really a nation, but I'll call it a nation in big quotation marks, with the limited power and influence that they had in order to progress and develop. The Sürgün, from my perspective, was completely harsh, very brutal, and to some extent an act reminiscent of the empire of old, and it had some form of imperialistic and colonial connotations. So that's kind of my kind of take on the Sürgün of 1944 and what happened. I hope I answered the two questions in hand, and I hope you stick around for what is to come. Bye.